we're going to make some winter sowing containers. So the gist is you take a clear plastic container, open it, some holes on the bottom, a hole on the top, and you're gonna plant in here, and then it's a little mini greenhouse, and you tape it up. So literally all you need, I haven't done this one yet. I like to take the plastic off, and then I like to use a torch because it's the easiest thing, and some scissors that you don't really care about. Get it nice and hot, and then I go ahead and make my drainage holes. That was not hot enough. Okay. And make my drainage holes. Just like that. And then I make one hole in the cap, and if you lost the cap, you can just like saran wrap it and rubber band it or tape it or something like that. You just don't want too much heat escaping, because that's the idea, is it's a greenhouse, but you also don't want it to like suffocate in there. So just one hole like that. Depending on what I'm going to plant in it, but I've just been making all of them the same, so I don't want to cut it directly in the middle. I want it a little bit lower just to allow room for the plant to grow. You could probably use box cutters or something, but I already ruined these scissors, so... And then I'll just let that melt in, and then I'll cut around. And usually there's like some sort of seam you could follow, but I wouldn't worry about it. And then you're gonna not cut all the way. This is so crooked, but it's okay. And just allow it to open. Not my best work, but it is what it is. Now this is gonna be the first year I'm gonna try these little water bottles. I'll plant probably like individual herbs or like more finicky herbs. I might even try like a tomato or a pepper plant. This one I actually cut higher than the middle because there's not enough root space. There's not as much root space horizontally. So I kind of did the opposite of that, but we'll see how it goes. Our last frost here is mid-April, like April 15. So I think these should be ready. Anything I plant in here should definitely be ready to go out by mid-April. So same thing for that. I'm just gonna take this. And same thing, drainage holes. Definitely don't need as many. These are plastic, and especially the larger ones can definitely be reused. I'll be reusing some from last year, but some of them did get damaged to the point where like I couldn't really reuse them. And we don't buy water bottles just to do this. This is like for any reason we had to buy water bottles, or if we had some family, we were at some event and they had some, we'll ask neighbors for some. All right, so we are reusing, even if some of these might end up in the trash, which a lot of times they don't. So it's a great way to reuse. So the right way to do this is to just purely use a designated seed starter mix, or one that you make on your own. Now I have some seed starters, so I'm going to use it. But I want strong plants, even if that means less of them survive and mature. I want strong plants. It's going to be a lot of perennial herbs, or just herbs in general, which this is amazing for. And then some limited amount of annuals, just to kind of show what the garden can do, and to eat. Like, I'm not gonna grow enough to be able to preserve a bunch and things like that. I like to go ahead and put a layer of the seed starting mix. If you want, instead of compost, which I will be putting, you can put some organic fertilizer, like chicken manure based fertilizer. And then I'm gonna take my compost. I know it looks chunky, but I promise it's done. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take another layer of the seed starting mix. This is what the seed will actually go into, because I can't really plant it in the chunky compost. Smush some compost in there. And then another layer of the seed starting mix. And I generally don't use seed starting mix enough to justify making my own. I just try and buy good ones. I try and buy ones that have been reviewed to be able to seed block, because I do seed block quite a bit. This is just to get that head start before the last frost, and also gives me the opportunity to not have to harden plants off, because even after the last frost, it still gets kind of cold, so you still kind of have to harden off. But with this method, literally all you have to do is open the top off, take the tape off, and we'll show that later, and just let them kind of acclimate that way for a little bit, and then put them in the ground. That's it. I do understand the advantage of seed starting mix, and that you will get a better germination rate with seed starting mix. I totally get it, okay? But my goal, like, I'm not a market farmer. I got plenty of seed. I save my own seeds a lot of the times. I'm not concerned about germination rates, so long as if the germination rate of the seed is good, then that's fine. I want survival of the fittest. I want the least amount of work, especially this year and subsequent years. I always want the least amount of work. I direct sow when I can, even though a lot of the direct sowing, a lot of the stuff doesn't come up. You know, I've learned kind of like tips and tricks over the years to increase germination rates, which usually is just keeping things wet. Like you can cover with cardboard or like a really thin piece of wood to keep that moisture until you have sprouting, just like you would start microgreens. You'd like put a weight on it, stuff like that. So anything to make my life easier, I am all for. Now, if I were in a situation where like every seed is valuable and I have to baby them, and I'm selling like to I'm doing a market garden situation, then obviously I'm going to invest a lot more time and effort into that, because every seed is that much more valuable, right? If I'm just planting for my family, I could not possibly plant every single seed that comes in a packet, in every single packet. So I'm not super worried about that. I'm more worried about my time. So that being said, I understand that this is not the correct way. Like if you're using potting mix or whatever the case may be, compost, I understand and I know, and it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. And this is just kind of what it looks like at the end. I would recommend duct tape. And then these ones, so these ones are a little bit harder to tape properly because they're softer. These are a little more rigid, the plastic, but also these aren't as clear, so I feel like they don't get as hot. I don't know. I don't think it matters, but that's just what it is. And then this is what the little bottles look like. So this is also great for plants that need a cold stratification, because you can just put these out early spring or late winter and just leave them out in this. You don't have to worry about them drying out. That's the main concern, for me at least, when I'm direct seeding or direct sowing in late winter, early spring. My main concern is things drying out, because I will forget to water, we won't get rain for a while. That's the main concern, and this is the main reason why I do this for herbs and perennials and stuff like that could easily be direct sown. It's because this thing will not dry out. Like, it just won't. And if it does, it won't. It shouldn't. It won't. And then tape. Again, duct tape I would recommend. I don't know if the regular like clear box tape will hold. It's been a day, y'all. And then just boop. And I forgot to put a label in here, but let's see if I can write on this. What was this? Oh. I'm going to keep mine in partial shade, partial sun. So it's only going to get late sun because it's getting hot out here. And then if I'm going to know a cold front's coming through or whatever, I will put them in full sun so to try and keep the temperature stabilized. I'm not worried about any of the herbs or like I have arugula and kale and brassicas and things like that. I'm not worried about those, but I do have also like tomatoes and stuff that I have to find and keep those separate because those will be a little bit more finicky. That's it. Easy peasy.